All right. Hope you guys are doing great today. Good to be with you and looking forward to it. And as we move through today, just know this is a coaching session for the entire company. In fact, I'm even seeing one of my good friends over there in California, Mr. Al Galvis. Good to see you, man. All right, so let's just jump into just a couple of quick things. And good to see Becky, Lisa, Carla. Let's see here. We got Aubrey, Mike, Glenna. Nice to see you guys. Michael Brand. All right, good deal. All right, so there's two questions that I want to jump into. But before I jump into those, let's just do a quick little market share. From a company standpoint in regards to just the amount of production, I just thought it'd be interesting for you to know that if you took a year over year specific to Utah, but it's relative, even though I have a few people here who are not with necessarily Utah's operation. The overall market is trending about 30% under last year. So basically 70% of last year. And I find that to be pretty interesting just from the standpoint that it looked, if you took an October or a November or a December and a January, to be even far worse than that, just from pure market stats. And although, look, any individual agent, which we're going to talk about in just one moment, can individually overcome any market conditions if they'll do the right things. But in general, just know that there actually is a real positive to what the market's doing. Not only is there seasonality, and of course, Utah, getting blitzed again as a general statement by another big snowstorm, but as a general statement, the market remains very, very strong. And I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Number one, when people say, is it a good time to buy? The thing that I'm always interested in is not necessarily why is it, share with me why it wouldn't be. And a lot of people will come back, well, what about the rates? What about home values? What about, and they'll talk about things that they really can't predict. But what we can predict and what we can historically and also predict from a place of the future is, one, we don't know what rates are going to do, and we certainly can't necessarily for certain know exactly what pricing will do over the next little bit. When I say next little bit, I'm talking about just the next, let's just even say year or two. But what we do know is that real estate always goes up in value. What we do know is that even historically, even in these last 2 weeks, that rates have continued to climb and to whittle themselves down just a little bit. There's a lot of research, and as I study it every single day, there's a lot to be said that the market very well may drop in regards to price or interest rates as low as 5.5% within the next 90 to as much as 180 days from now. So basically no later than the first of fourth quarter. So there's a lot of positives from the standpoint of that. Yes, everyone keeps saying, watch the treasury, the 2-year treasury, the 10-year. But one of the things we keep seeing is a number of dollars keep getting poured into the bond market, which then reduces the yield, which then reduces the rates. And so that's a really good thing from the standpoint if you're, quote, in real estate. But setting all that aside, one of the things that I think that there is in this world that we each live in is there's a lot of uncertainty. And, whenever I talk about the market, or I talk about rates, or we talk about the market going up or down in regards to sales volume, or whether it's in pricing, whatever it may be, the fact remains is that there'll always be a need for home ownership, and there'll always be a need for investment. There'll always be a need for someone to buy or sell a piece of property where someone either can live or someone can buy and then rent. And from an investment standpoint, it just exists. And just as a reminder, is that I think that we have this way of humanity, which is we go out and we focus on all the things that we do not have control over. So for instance, we can talk about interest rates all day long, but it doesn't matter really what I have to say about it, or frankly, it doesn't even matter what you have to say about it. It doesn't matter. Why? Because in fairness, the rates are the rates, and you personally aren't going to impact them at all. And I'm not going to personally impact interest rates at all. Now, I can certainly be well versed and I can certainly speak on them. I can talk about their impact. I can talk about affordability. I can talk about it all day long, but I don't personally impact rates. And so the problem that I continue to see in this marketplace that we're in is that, and I say humanity, but let's get real specific here with real estate agents. Real estate agents focus often on things that they can't control. So they'll focus on the rates, they'll focus on sales volume, they'll focus on inventory, they'll focus on what other agents are doing, they'll focus on unemployment or lack of, or low numbers, high numbers, whatever it is. They'll focus on the politics of Democrats, Republicans, independents, liberals, left side, east, left side, right side. They'll focus on all sorts of problems and challenges, and yet and they'll speak to them, but they literally have no impact on them. And that doesn't mean that your voice doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that your vote doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that if you want to go before your city council and whatnot, that doesn't matter. I mean, all of it is stuff that you can do, but just ask yourself the things that you're really worrying about right now. What is this market going to do? Just ask yourself, do you personally have any control over what this market actually does? You may say, well, George, but it helps me to navigate. Navigate what? Navigate your activity, navigate your precision of activity, navigate your direction every single day. I actually don't think it navigates almost any of it. What I believe is that if you got into the habit of waiting for business, you got into the habit of acting like you were doing your job for the last 3 years in regards to prospecting and making calls and knocking doors and talking to people on a consistent basis, I'm going to bet that the impact of this market has really changed that. Now, if you are already in the habit of prospecting, knocking doors, talking to people consistently, making a number of contacts on a daily basis, in fairness, those are the people that I've seen who have had very little difference, very little bit of change into their market or into their world of real estate in regards to their sales, because in fairness, they've been actively out pursuing business. So the challenge right now is that if you wait for business to happen, or if you don't go out and get the business, there's going to be some significant problems in your business. And yet the market is 70% of what it was last year. 70%. So when we sit on this coaching call today, ask yourself, how are you getting a hold of the 70%? We have the same amount of home sales that were occurring 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 years ago. We have the same amount of home sales that were happening 4 or 5 years ago. No one complained about the market. Everybody thought the market was actually pretty good. But here we are in 2023, concerned about the depletion of the market, the slowing of the market. Well, a lot of that has to do with how you're taking control of your life. So the message today is really about, how do you choose to control your life? Now, I'm not going to get into the details of control of, all areas of your life. But what I do know is that when we take some level of control within our lives, a level of certainty enters into our lives, and a level of momentum begins to occur in our lives. So as you're reflecting, just ask yourself, what type of energy do you have today? Do you have an energy that is abundant, an energy that is hopeful, an energy that is light and bright? Do you have an energy that is encouraging, an energy that is truly abundant in regards to opportunity and the potential of things that could happen and the goodness of what could happen? And you say, well, George, am I supposed to be Mr. or Mrs. Pollyanna? Am I supposed to always act like it's all going to be good? I didn't say that it was always going to be good. But what I do know is that there are people who look at the glass as half full, and there are people who look at the glass as half empty. And the difference between those two is the optimism that occurs within these marketplaces. And that within these markets, it begins to help you to navigate and to be able to decide the activities that you're going to take hold of and take control of in your life. So as you move through your career right now, just again, go back to, what is my energy? What is my attitude? What is the feelings that I'm feeling? Are they ones of hopelessness? Are they ones of excitement and anticipation? Are they ones of depression and sadness and the what ifs of life and wondering whether it's going to work out, or are you going to be okay? And is it going to be okay? And I'm not suggesting that those feelings aren't real. What I'm suggesting is how do you get rid of those feelings of uncertainty? How do you get rid of the feelings of disappointment, discouragement, and anxiety? How do you get rid of feeling like maybe there is no hope, there is no future? Well, I have a firm belief that you can have hope, but hope needs to be aligned with a plan. So the question then is can you remain hopeful with a plan? What is your plan? What is the plan that you have to be able to navigate through today's marketplace? Because things have changed for good and some for bad. That's okay. The question isn't, is it good or bad? There's always going to be days that are good and bad. It's how you navigate through those things. And ultimately, what I want you to have is I want you to have complete self-reliance. What I want you to have is complete independence. And if that's the case, then ask yourself, how in control am I? How in control am I of my finances? How am I in control, or how in control am I of my production and my profitability and the deals that I do? A lot of people will call what I call a top producer, a producer who is excelled, in their transaction count. I've actually often believed that it's a little different than that. I've considered that a top producer is someone who can dictate and control the outcome of their day, meaning their business. Can you control your business? Are you at the whims of the market? Are you at the whims of rates going up or down? Are you at the whim of whether people call you, contact you, reach out to you? If that's the way that you're running your business, I can tell you that you have to be of a massive amount of stress. You for sure are at moments highly anxious, discouraged, and in wonderment of what is going to happen or not going to happen because the lack of control that you've taken to your career. So the agents, and although it's so funny to me, there will be agents that I will mention and people will be annoyed that I mention these agents. They're annoyed that I put them on a pedestal of success and repetitive behavior that allows them to have consistent income, acting as if it's because I just like them. It has nothing to do with whether I like them or don't like them. In fact, I may not even like some of them, but that has nothing to do with it. What it has to do with is that they have created predictability and duplication to their business. So ask yourself, how predictable is your business today? How repetitive is the outcome of your business today? How much can you count on a deal happening or a deal not happening in relationship to your business? Well, I can tell you that the answer to that question has so much to do with the activity levels of your day and what you choose to take control of. So with the remaining time that we have, I want to focus on a few items that I know that if you take complete 100% control of, you will control your emotions, you'll control your income, you'll control your activities. Everything will get better if you control just a handful of things. And I'm not going to give you 30 things. I'm not going to give you 10 things. I'm going to give you 5 things that I want you to really focus on, that I want you to control. Look, whenever, and this comes from experience. This isn't me sharing a message with you that I've just randomly thought would be a fun thing to talk about. It's because even I at times, and some people, oh, come on, George, you? Yes, me. I at times feel completely out of control. Like there's times where I feel like I don't have a handle on things, or I feel anxious, or I feel stressed. And when I feel all of those things, it's a direct correspondence and correlation to the activities and the plan that I have in place. Because what I've realized is that when I do certain things, all of my stress, anxiety, and all of the fear dissipates. And I'm in a space where it's like, I can do this thing. I can really take on my world, if you would say, to making it happen. So look, write these 5 things down, take note of them, and strive throughout your life to live them, especially in the business of real estate. Now, some of them won't be new to you, but in the words of Socrates, who said, learning is remembering, it's the very reason that Socrates never wrote anything down. It was others who wrote down the writings of Socrates because he believed that everything you need is already inside of you. So my hope is that I awaken you just a little bit to reminding you of how to play this game. And how do you win this game? And how do you create a better pathway of bliss and joy and happiness and freedom and abundance in your life, even in markets that may seem a little challenging or difficult or borderline recession/depression in certain areas? Well, how do you manage through that? Is you manage to keep yourself in alignment. And these are the things I want to give to you. All right. So number 1, these are not in any particular order above another, but here's number 1, be grateful. Be grateful. Now, look, I've talked for years on this topic, but I just want to really ask you, have you sat in a quiet space for a moment today, yesterday, and just felt the emotions of gratitude? So if you're, as you're writing, write down, I have to feel gratitude. I need to think about what I'm grateful for. And I need to show physically what I do with my gratitude. So I feel it, I think it, and I go and act out the things in which I am grateful for. Now, this may seem like such common sense, but the most uncommon thing in the world today is common sense. Common sense would say, man, I've heard this message a lot. And if it's for the first time, that's okay. But just remember that there is no fear. There is no depression. There is no sadness. There is nothing like that that can be experienced when you are full of gratitude. So feel it, think it, experience it, show it by the actions that you take, and just let it be a tool to keep you in control, to being in a place of abundance and light and bright and open, because it's a tool. And not one tool is maybe more important than another, but what you're going to find with some of these things is I just simply want you to be in control. And some of you are like, oh yeah, well, but George, I already know that. Well, if you know that gratitude is the antidote to all fear, sadness, and anxiety, then the better question is, if you know the answer to that, then what is it, or why is it, maybe even better, that you're not using it? Can you really say that today you've spent quiet moments, even just 1 or 2 minutes? I'm not talking, be the guru sitting on a rock in the middle of nowhere or on your yoga mat, and it's got to be something like so planned and primed out. No. What I'm saying is don't complicate it. What I'm saying is take a step back and go, man, today is the day I'm going to be grateful. And there will not be anything that I'm not grateful for. So in closing on this first point on gratitude and moving on to the next point, write this next to the gratitude. I must exchange my expectations with gratitude. I must exchange my expectations with gratitude. Now, why is that so important? Holy cow, why is it so important? because we set these expectations for our lives. And so often we don't hit them. And what's even more scary is we set up expectations for our lives, and these expectations aren't even like achievable, accomplishable, believable, but we will beat ourselves up from that standpoint and not exchanging what we expect to have happen with the gratitude of what did happen, and reminding yourself that life is actually happening for you, not to you. No one has it. There's no boogeyman out there trying to get you. Whatever you want to believe, that is nonsense in my world. There's no boogeyman trying to get you. No. So let gratitude literally just radiate from yourself. Let gratitude fill your soul. Let gratitude fill your mind, your heart, your body. Express it with words that you say. Speak to it in your own mind. Write it down. Speak of it. Talk about it. Experience it. Show your gratitude through the service to others. How do you get out of your own way? You go serve another person. How do you get out of your own way? You go do something for someone. That's how it works. That's why we serve. That's why we give. That's why we go make a difference, because there's wisdom in this service. It's an expression of your gratitude. Whether it's your gratitude that you go do certain things to your maker, or whether it's gratitude for the person you're serving, or gratitude that you say, you know what, I've been so blessed and so richly rewarded. I'm going to go do something for someone. I'm going to impact their life for good because of it. That was just number one. Man, I'm moving slow here. All right. Number one, be grateful. Number two, write in your journal. Then you say, well, George, are you looking at a list? Well, I have a list I don't even need to look at, because these are practices. And again, I use the word practice, but I write in my journal every single day. There are very few days that I don't do this. And one of the sweet gifts that I was able to give, because last Saturday, or a week ago, this last Saturday, I guess about 9 days ago, was my 30th anniversary with Jennifer. And what did I do? I gave Jennifer a journal. And for the last 2 years, I've written in that journal, expressing my gratitude for Jennifer. And it would start off with, I love you because. For 2 years, hundreds of journal entries, reminding myself of the beauty of our relationship, reminding her as to how grateful I am for her. Now, I got her some pretty nice stuff for our 30th anniversary, a new wedding ring and some other great things. And you want to know what was most precious to her? Was the words that I wrote that were words of gratitude. So here I am being grateful, expressing my gratitude, writing it out, but letting my journal be a place where I dictate my gratitudes, my plans, my future. And some of you will check the box and go, check, I did it once. I did it this week. I'm challenging you. Do it more often. Do it often enough to where it's part of a ritual for you. It's habitual for you. It's not something you just do once, but you write on a daily basis in your journal. Asking yourself questions. It's where you keep score. Jim Rohn said, if your life is worth living, it's worth recording. Get serious about your journal. It's where you take control of your life. It's where you express yourself. It's where you write your future, your intentions, your goals, your plans, your dreams, your future. And the thing is the clearer you get on that future, the more certain you will get, the more you will find your center, and the more you will move through your life in a place of light and brightness and joy and beauty and goodness, instead of the opposites of that: depression, sadness, uncertainty, not sure, unclear, don't know what's going to happen. The very opposite happens when you get serious about gratitudes in journals. All right. Number three, in a world of chaos, number three is meditation. But I want you to write down a few other words next to this meditation. meditation, thinking, taking time to think, meditation, thinking, you can put even a slash, put ponder, thinking, pondering, and praying. Pray. Pray. Yes, pray to your maker. And the thing is the problem is that this world is so weird in regards to like acknowledging deity and acknowledging the beauties of our lives. In fairness, between meditation, prayer, pondering, and slash thinking, man, you can really get to a place of beauty and a place of certainty. And it's a place where you acknowledge the fact that maybe there is something bigger than you, greater than you, grander than you. Maybe there's just something about the fact of you being grateful for the creations that exist. Like, get serious about it. Like, acknowledge the beauty of life and that you have been created. That's my belief. You don't have to buy into it, but I do know this: it's created a pretty good life for me. It's created a pretty good life for a lot of other people I know. That when you meditate, when you pray and you think and you ponder, and then you throw a journal into it, and then you do acts of service because you're grateful and you think about service, you express your gratitude, you think about your gratitude, you feel your gratitude. I mean, I've only given you 3 of the points that are really these governing rituals of my life. And the thing is that it's not like I have it all figured out, man. I've made so many mistakes. I've messed up royally in life. I've screwed things up, messed things up, made poor decisions, said dumb things, done dumb things. But I know this, that man, when I seem to be on my best game, those are things that I'm doing. Okay, let's go to number 4. There's something very important about getting oxygen into your system. Oxygen. Okay, so number 4 is exercise. There is so much science, so much research about the impact and the effects of just simply exercising. I don't need you to be, going to, bodybuilding competitions. If that's what does it for you, knock yourself out. But, I don't need you to bench press your, ridiculous weights. And I don't need you to be, the king or the queen of yoga today. But what I do need, and what I would suggest to you, is some level of exercise that will have a profound impact on your well-being, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So get serious about exercise at some level. But it can be as serious as, you know what? I can commit for 20 minutes every day to walk around my neighborhood. And you say, well, it's snowing. Come on. Stop lining up all the excuses and get serious about the fact of what you want life to really look like in regards to your health and your vitality. But if you're wanting to take control, one of the things you can control is you can control your exercise. And certainly you could add into there, although not one of the 5th points, but you could add in your nutrition into the game. Imagine though, think about it. Would you feel more in control if you had control of your nutrition, control of your exercise, if you were pondering, thinking, praying, and meditating, if you were expressing your gratitude, feeling your gratitude, talking of your gratitude, and then on top of that, you journaled all over the place with things that were going on in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just those 4 points, just those 4, you would feel like, oh my gosh, I am in a place of absolute control in my life. No question. So that's why number 5 is so important. Number 5 is one of the most critically important portions of this, because it's a place where you go truly and take all these good things I just mentioned, and you go and you take action in this business. All right. So number 5 is you go and prospect. Prospect. But imagine you are filled with light and love and goodness and joy and brightness and abundance, because you have been from a place of gratitude. You have journaled, you have meditated, prayed, pondered, and thought. And then you, on top of that, you've exercised. And now, I have a big smile on my face. You get to prospect? Yes. You say, well, no. Well, that's because you haven't done the other 4 things I've just talked about. Of course, your answer is going to be, no, I don't want to prospect. Your answer needs to be, yes, I get to prospect. I get to talk to people, call people, knock doors of people, visit with people, and help them navigate the path of real estate through your leadership. How awesome is that? How flippin' awesome is that? It is amazing. But see, that's because you're coming from a place of abundance, brightness, light, beauty. As Tony Robbins will say, right? A beautiful state. Well, that's a different place to be when you pick up a phone. That's a different place to be when you're dialing a number. That's a different place to be when you're knocking on a door. You're in a completely different space. But here's the thing that's interesting. People, when they're down, want to stay down. You may say, "Oh, no, George, I don't want to stay here." Yeah, you do. You do. Because there's a payoff for that. You don't have to prospect. There's a payoff that you don't have to work. There's a payoff that you can be part of the body of people that are doom and gloom and how bad things are and how rough it is and how tough it's going to be. And George, you don't understand my situation. I may not understand your entire situation, but what I do know is you can excuse yourself till the cows come home, to the end of your days, excusing yourself for you're too old, you're too young, the market's this, the market's that, it's not working. You can give yourself all sorts of reasons why it's not working. And people, here's the scary part. People put their arm around you and go, "So sorry. You're right. It is tough." And it is tough. I'm not here to say that life isn't tough. Life can be really tough. Like life can be painful. Life can hurt. Life can snap at you. But what's the alternative? To live an entire career in life in excuses as to why you didn't come and become your very greatest version of you? Like is your destiny to give excuses as to why you didn't? And here again, everyone's gonna go, "Well, I totally get why you didn't succeed." Because I mean, who could have during those circumstances, those challenges, those things coming at you? And it doesn't mean that you're not going to get sympathy, compassion. I would give it to you. But we're talking about you taking control. We're talking about you taking control of your life. And if you want control of your life, well, then you need to take a step back and ask yourself, well, wait a second, if I'm going to take control of my life, well, taking control isn't giving excuses. Taking control of my life is stepping forward with my gratitude, with my meditations and my prayer and my thoughts of abundance and my thinking and my pondering. It's getting serious about a journal and crafting and outlining the beauty of the life that you're destined to live. And to write in your gratitudes and your questions and your challenges and your history. And it's where you keep score. And then, of course, you're going to exercise just 20 minutes. Get some oxygen into your system. Get your heart rate up. You say, "Well, George, I don't have to." Really? Then walk the stairs in this building or wherever you are. Just get your coat on and walk. Walk. And see how you feel and how much better you will feel. And then last, of course, but not least, like I just talked about, take massive action, like a Tony Robbins will talk. Massive action. Well, what is that action? Go to work, make the calls, talk to the people, knock the doors. But here's the deal. If you aren't scared, if you aren't fearful, if you aren't afraid, if you aren't discouraged, if you aren't anxious, guess how much better those phone calls will be? They will be night and day, not even in the same solar system of awesomeness. So I would just challenge you that everything that you want to have happen in your life, I believe, especially in the business of real estate, all right, let's just at least, we'll keep it there, is possible. It's possible because you take control. Now, again, you can take no control. You can be dictated by the market. Rates up, rates down. Market up, market down. Inventory up, inventory down. All of it. Or you can say no more. And today, with this small group, in fairness, a small group, you can take control of your life, and you can say, just like I always have this imagery, even though I never got to see him play, I always have this imagery of Babe Ruth. They say who would point into a part of the field as to what he was going to do with the bat. And then, of course, he'd be up there swinging the bat. And probably more times than not, he did exactly what he pointed out was going to happen. And he hit so many home runs. And he's legendary, the great Babe Ruth, legendary. I mean, the guy has a candy bar named after him, for heaven's sakes, right? Legendary, because he was able to call his shot. He pointed the bat at maybe left field, center field, right field, and cracked it out of the park because he was willing to call his shot. Now, in closing, one of the most important things, and I pause for a moment because I have to tell you, I was thinking, and is this like really truly what I believe to be most important? And the answer is, man, it's got to be way up there. I don't want to say the most important, but it's up there. And it's this: I want you to live as I want my life to be the same, my life. But your life, what I want is to be a life that you call the shots on, that you live a life that you are destined to live, that you live a life that you craft, that you create, that you write down, that you visualize, that you see, you meditate, you pray, you ponder, you think, you write about it. And it becomes the life that you're living, that it's not a life of excuses and, well, I would if I could, and I shoulda and woulda and coulda, but didn't. But you're living a life that you sit back and go, I designed this. I always love, in fact, I see my beautiful, amazing wife on this call, and she always, when she created her book, she said these words. She goes, look what me and God created. So what are you going to create? A bunch of excuses? Because at the summit next week, or on the 11th, make sure you're there. Not only is she going to share her book, she's going to get a copy of the book, but you're going to hear the story about the book. And what you're going to hear is that you have the capacity to create, no matter what your circumstances have been. But that's entirely up to you to create it. So whether it's the amount of prospecting you do, which leads to appointments, which leads to appointments being taken and deals, listings and buyers and deals being done, start crafting a life that you designed, not one that just showed up for you and you shrug your shoulders and go, well, I just guess what life delivered up to me. If your ship has not come in, go out into the harbor and go get it and bring it in. Go live the life that you're destined to live, not because I need you to. I don't need you to do it. In fairness, there's probably people who would really like to see you do it, but do it for you. Do it because you've been given talents and abilities and possibilities to go create masterpieces of your life. And believe in yourself and believe that you are destined to create extraordinary outcomes in your life. And if that's the case, if you were built and born to be something great and you're here for a reason, then go live it and design it and then live it and then design more of it and go live more of it and then design, because as you go further down the path, there'll be more things you'll design. But let it be a life that you design that is purposeful and meaningful, and not a life that just happened by accident, but it's something that you made happen because of the beauty of who you've become. So that's why the importance of my journal and meditation and pondering and thinking and praying and exercising and making sure that I'm taking a moment of gratitude and thinking and feeling and speaking it and serving and giving, because I want to live a life that I design, not one that just happened by chance or by accident, or one that happened just with really nothing in sight, but just kind of happens. And the thing that I know is that if we're casual in this, well, then our life ends up being pretty darn casual. And if you're casual in the setting up of your life, just ask yourself this: where else is that showing up in your life? If you're casual with the divine guidance of your life, like if you're casual in that, where else is that showing up? That casualness. Are you casual in your relationships? So casual that there's not enough meaning and depth to them? Are you casual in your relationships with your creator? Are you casual in your relationship with your significant other, with your intimate partner? Just ask yourself, where else is it showing up? If I'm casual here, where else am I being casual? What I hope is that you're not. And ultimately now, for sure, in closing, kudos to you guys for showing up. Kudos for you being here, which tells me that you're committed to wanting your life to be better. You're committed to your life being more than it is. You're committed to life being beautiful and grand, and a life that you create, a purposeful life that you created, where you strive to become your very best through all of this, is a beautiful thing. And look, you know what? I'm now old enough in my life. Maybe you won't achieve every goal that you set. Maybe not. Maybe not. I haven't achieved every goal that I've set, because all of a sudden I've had an awakening of what is it costing me? What are the values that I want to honor and respect in my life? What's more meaningful to me? Can you evaluate that? Well, you can if you're thinking, praying, pondering, thinking, journaling, and meditating. But if you're just getting caught in this rat race of life, you better slow down if you want depth into your life and you want your life to become what you ultimately desire it to be. Just take a moment and recognize that there's nothing in this business you can't learn or do. So go do it. Go live the life that you're destined to live, instead of the army of excuses that you perpetuate every single day to yourself and to others as to why you aren't where you want to be. If you want to be there, then galvanize all your energies, your mindset, your belief system, your actions, and move yourself towards them. And recognize, here's the good part, is that the path has already been made. This isn't a secret how to make $1 million or more in real estate. It's already been made. But then you want to rechange the process and change the formula and mess around with the recipes. You don't need to. You don't need to. You can, but you don't need to, because the recipe is there. Just follow the recipe. You'll make as much money as you want, as long as you don't back it up with a bunch of excuses. That's the beauty of life. It kind of calls you on your stuff, and you can excuse yourself, or you can step forward and start doing some of the things that we're talking about and really engage in the life that you're destined to live. That's my hope for you. Truly, it's a hope, because I can't make you do it. I can't force you to do it. I can demand you to do some of it. I can say, you're doing this. Well, how far does that go? I don't know. Probably not far. But man, when you're thirsty and you're hungry and you have enough reasons, you'll bust and you'll break through anything that's your roadblock. Nothing will stop you because of what it means to you. And there will be no more excuses, and there will be responsibility and action that will move you forward. Okay, guys, have an extraordinary rest of the week. Finish strong. As you start strong, finish strong. Don't let one day be a day that you excuse yourself from the greatness of who you are and the greatness of where you're heading. All right. I love every one of you. So good to be with you. And just know you can do this, and you've got this. Know that I'm always here to help you any way I can. Remember Summit, April 11th. At the Larry H. Miller, and we're going to have a great time. All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.